on question of the week. We got Dustin Starr again here. Hey, Dustin.
Yeah, what's up, man?
5-star here, sitting here with Chris Flackett. Let me make sure I said his name right. Chris Flackett. I'm sorry if I did not pronounce it right,
Yes,
but
from Twitter.
he's from Twitter. Yeah, he wants to know. This is a great question, by the way. Favorite Memphis wrestling match ever, current and old school. I've got a couple I'm going to say for old school. Do you have anything old school wise that just pops in your mind?
There is a storyline. It's not necessarily, I mean, it was a match, but it's not for the match. It's more for the memory and the moment in which it happened. And I remember that it was Jerry the King Lawler and it was Handsome Jimmy Valiant. And they were going one-on-one for the championship. And it was one of those situations where it had to be right down the middle. Let's do it right now on TV. Let's settle the score. Even Steven, right? And then there came an opportunity, and I believe it was Burt Prentice that came out and dangled the chain during the double down. And I think the ref was down as well. And Lawler looked, and he looked at the people, and he looked at the people, and then Burt threw it to him. He wound it up, and he knocked Jimmy Valiant out, and he won the title. You know, he won the match there. And so it literally turned Jerry Lawler heel on Handsome Jimmy Valiant because of one thing, and it was the championship and using the chain. Another thing that's one of my favorites is the entire episode. Now, I don't remember what happened. I don't know the behind the scenes thing, but maybe some people didn't show up for TV one day, and they shot this storyline where Bill Dundee turned heel on Jerry Lawler after being his tag team partner. I mean, literally the entire episode was Lawler Dundee, went from them being baby faces and then getting into it a little bit with the Fabulous Ones. And then all of a sudden they had the match in the end and Dundee won the championship. To me, that's a moment. It's not necessarily for the match, but it's for the story and for the moment. So those are a couple that stick out pretty vividly in my head.
Along with we're different ages.
Some of the snowman stuff. The snowman stuff hits me in the heart because I was there for a lot of that. And I remember my family not wanting to go back to Mid-South Coliseum for that. So it's the stories that do it for me.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we did an episode on the snowman. We went back and watched that angle and everything. Oh, no, was it really that good? And it is. It's still good. It's still fun to watch. I can tell I'm a lot older than you, but by the way, I didn't know if you knew that or not. But
I don't.
Old school wise, for me, the thing I think about is Funk and Lawler, and we only saw clips of it. The first one, the Texas Death that they did, that was just, but not to my eye. The one that it's Lawler's hitting Funk with chair in the knees and the legs, and he's bumping like crazy. I love that match. And the Texas Death with Lawler and Mantell went over 20 falls. It's Lawler and Mantell against Dundee and Landale. I bet you remember some of that stuff, but just so fun. The punches were just crazy in that. But what about currently? What is your matches that you can think of? Go ahead.
Punches back in the day were so freaking good, man. And you mentioned Snowman. I got to give you a little Easter egg real quick, because I had Snowman's name and number written down on a small piece of paper in front of my desk for about 6 months, and then he passed away. Like, I was going to bring Snowman to Memphis Wrestling and do something controversial or whatever appeared to be controversial, but I never got a chance to do it. Currently, are we talking currently as in like our product?
Yeah, we're at 152, so let's talk about 152 weeks. And when I thought of this question, I could think of some of the Young Goats matches at the very early, and things that pop in my mind is just Mike Anthony against anyone in a brawl. That's just what I wrote down. Anything with Mike Anthony when it's in a brawl. But what comes to mind to you? What match sticks out? You've been there. I've been watching it at home. You've been right there in front of it. But what match was either crazy or, oh, my God, this is so good? What was the moments or the matches?
There are quite a few that just make you go, oh, my gosh, I can't believe that was on my show. Everything from Aldous and Gresham to Young Goats Posse. I remember them doing a chicken fight one time. The first time I've ever seen it in a tag team match, kind of doing a chicken fight. That the people, they were both baby faces and the people got with it. And it was just so good that I remember the people loving it. But anything to do with Mike Anthony and the Gun Show, because if you look at it, those are two of the top strongest characters in our history of 152 episodes. You never know who's going to win that match. Even though the Gun Show has always kind of had Mike's number, Mike is such a strong personality in the ring that he could win at any point. So Gun Show and Mike Anthony. Another thing that takes the cake for that for me is there's only been a handful of Memphis Heritage champions. You've got Alan Steele, you've got the Gun Show, and you've got Mike Anthony, and that's it. And to me, those two men in the ring, Gun Show and Mike Anthony, you never, ever know what's going to happen. But then also I got to mention before you move on, I got to mention anything doing with Kay Toomer, because Toomer went from a guy who wasn't even booked on the show to now being one of the strongest, most powerful, and most over characters. So, Gun Show and Mike are gonna take the cake, but then also like Kay Toomer and Mike's stuff has been so good too. The Memphis Street Fight won the match of the year and everything. So that's a couple of mine there. I'll be thinking about it while you're talking, but
I agree. All right, guys. Question of the week. There's a phone number in the email. If you call the phone number, I actually use your voice and everything on the show. Do it now. Question of the week.